He was out of the race. Now he's back in and already facing some trouble. I'm talking about David Crowley, a Democratic Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate and current Milwaukee County executive, who just rejoined the crowded race and got a huge endorsement from Wisconsin's current governor. But a resurfaced social media account is complicating his comeback. NBC News is reporting that a Twitter or X account that goes by the name Dirt McGurk is registered to Crowley. It has some incendiary posts about women, race, and the LGBTQ community, like one that reads, "Only people, quote, like you have hashtag gay thoughts, LOL tambourine player, LOL, or I wouldn't F her with your hashtag slap yourself, hashtag confession, I've never a white woman." Is that bad? The account, which was most active in 2010, was when Crowley was in his mid-20s and working as a campaign aide. Let's bring in Milwaukee County executive and Democratic Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate David Crowley. David, your campaign says that you did not author any of the controversial posts there and says that up to 12 other people had access to the account. Do you stand by that?
Absolutely. You know, this was a Twitter account that I created along with a bunch of friends, a bunch of friends of mine when I was in my early 20s. So these tweets are over a decade and a half old. But when I think about these particular tweets, these incendiary tweets, these are not something that I do not condone this type of language. It's not language that I would use. And anybody who knows me knows I continuously fight on behalf of all of our communities across the entire state. But what I've recognized at the end of the day, as we've been traveling, is that, you know, Wisconsinites don't care about tweets that's old enough to drive. They want to know how we're going to make sure that they can afford groceries, afford housing, afford their utility bills. And so we have a lot of momentum heading into this August primary. And so we're going to make sure we're focusing on the issues that matter most.
Did you really not author even a single one of those? I ask because there is one where you basically self-identify yourself using some of the same tone and sort of style of writing. You know, you say at one point, "Those who don't know, it's DC, a.k.a. David," and it goes on to have some words that I can't say on television in it. So in some cases, it sort of looked like it might be the same person.
Well, I had a group of friends and we were immature. We did stupid stuff when we were younger, in our mid-20s as single guys, doing some things like club promotions, right? And so it was for a lot of attention. But many of the incendiary comments I did not write. You know, if anybody knows me, they know that I'm a stand-up guy. You know, I have 3 daughters myself, and I have continuously been an ally, an advocate, and an accomplice when it comes down to our LGBTQ plus community. But we also understand that we currently have a president who currently is tweeting every single day incendiary comments. And so I'm not focused on what we have done, you know, 16 years ago. This is about what we need to do for Wisconsinites moving forward.
So the Wisconsin governor, Tony Evers, he endorsed your campaign. This happened a couple of days before then NBC News reported all of this. Did he know about these posts? Did he talk to you about them at all?
No, he didn't know about these posts, just like I didn't know about these posts. These are posts that are 16 years old.
OK, so I want to talk to you about the dynamics of you jumping out and then jumping back into the race. As I'm sure you know, not just the Democratic Party and voters in your state, but Democrats who are nervous about the midterms across the country. The move raised some eyebrows. There were some questions about whether or not the Democratic establishment essentially here was asking you to step back in because they were hoping that you would stop Francesca Hong, who is the Democratic socialist in this race, who is polling ahead right now. Can you tell me a bit about what happened behind the scenes here? It's unusual for someone to drop out and then just a couple days later say, no, my hat is back in this race.
Well, as you can imagine, Antonia, when I dropped out of this race, we had much different information that we have today. I dropped out of this race and I started supporting the lieutenant governor. And every single day after I dropped out, new information came. And when that new information came, people continuously called me starting that Monday to jump back into this race. But we continuously said no. We weren't getting in this race. It wasn't just a decision for me. It was a decision that I had to make with my wife and my children. But when the lieutenant governor dropped out that Friday, that's when the calls came even more, when my wife actually broke that news to me. And so after prayer, days prior, me and my wife felt like this was the sign for us to get back into this race because we need a proven leader, someone who not only can win this election, but that can govern on day one, but more importantly, coalesce individuals across the political spectrum so we can ultimately defeat Tom Tiffany in November, because we don't need a MAGA extremist occupying the governorship here in Wisconsin.
Can I ask you what you would say to people who feel that your re-entry into the race directly harms Mandela Barnes, who's also been a proven leader? He's been lieutenant governor. Polls, some hypothetical matchup polls show him competing quite well against Tom Tiffany. So what do you say to Democrats who say, whoa, you are directly getting in the way of another person who has served this party and has been trying to run this race?
Well, let's not forget, I'm already in this race. I'm already on the ballot, and people have cast the ballots here in the state of Wisconsin already and voted for me. This isn't about any candidate in this race. This isn't about me. This is about the people of Wisconsin. And as I travel, they want to make sure that they have a proven leader. As county executive, I lead the largest county in the state of Wisconsin, representing close to 1 million people, a sixth of our entire state's population in 19 different municipalities. So it's not just about the vision and the mission that we need to create here in the state of Wisconsin when it comes down to Democrats. What's unique to me is that I actually have the receipts, how we've built affordable housing, how we have the lowest unsheltered homeless count per capita than any community in the entire country, and how we continue to reduce our opioid deaths. And so this is about the people of Wisconsin. So I'm getting here to make my case. It's not going to be a cakewalk just because I have the sitting governor's endorsement. I have to earn every single vote across Wisconsin.
I want to ask you about a major story in your community, in your state right now. Protesters, they've been gathering in Madison, Wisconsin, on the heels of a fatal shooting of a 38-year-old man by police on Wednesday. And police claim that this man, Ruiz, pulled out a knife during an arrest and injured an officer, the same officer who ended up killing Ruiz by shooting him in the head 3 times. Protesters crashed a press conference yesterday, and I want you to take a listen to some of what they said.
You're going to say the same thing you all say every time a black body gets shot down in this city. This is a corrupt city. We've seen the cameras. We've seen it was a knife in this young man's hand. We don't want to hear that today. We didn't want to hear it when they put their neck on George Floyd's neck. We don't their foot on George Floyd's neck, and we don't want to hear it today.
I want your reaction to this case, to the shooting, to also just some of the policy issues that it raises. For example, body cameras, which are not on police officers with this department. What kinds of reforms can you promise to protesters, to black community members all across Wisconsin who may see themselves in this, have fear and concern about the relationship between their communities and the police right now?
Well, first and foremost, my thoughts and prayers are not just with Corey Ruiz and his entire family, but it's with the entire city of Madison. This is heartbreaking when I seen that video. And I think this is a moment that we need to figure out, one, how do we continue to grieve and allow the city of Madison and its community members to figure out what they need to do moving forward. But here in the state of Wisconsin, many people may not know, but we put public safety on the backs of local municipalities. Wisconsin is near or at the very bottom when it comes down to public safety investments. And more communities are looking towards how do we invest in police officers, for example, body cameras. And so I would like to see a consistent, a statewide policy when it comes down to body camera use, as well as transparency being enshrined into our state law. Our communities deserve to know that they're going to see an independent investigation that is going to be thorough and that they're going to receive accurate and timely information. And so we have a duty. And so we need the state to step up and be a willing partner so we can make these type of investments because we can't continue to put unfunded mandates on our local municipalities. And so it is my goal that we have real conversations about how we can stop these types of incidents from moving forward.
Milwaukee County Executive and gubernatorial candidate David Crowley, great to see you, and thank you for your time.